Okay, good afternoon. It's the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners Workshop. Today is Monday, April 6, 2026. It is 1 p.m. I call this meeting to order. If you could stand for the pledge. And we'll take a moment of silence again to reflect on the men and women who are serving us abroad, particularly today and every day. Thank you. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the workshop. Today, we're going to be discussing the county administrator and county attorney evaluation process, as well as our county administrator search process. And then finally, we will have a presentation about Phoenix Crossing and their extension request. So we'll go ahead and start, and I'll have Human Resources give us a presentation. I think they'd like to start with the county administrator search process first, and then they can tail into the evaluation. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, everyone. Charlie Picano, HR Director. We're going to be here for a little while, so we'll get through everything. The first thing I wanted to talk about was is the county administrator search process. So it's important for, obviously, the public to know that FACM is not a recruiting agency or search agency. They're more so of a professional service that's going to offer expertise to us during the process. So a lot of the search process is going to be handled internally through my department, with overview from FACM and the 3 county administrators they assign to our search. So with that being said, one of the first processes that came up in my conversation with our point person, Michelle Lieberman from Alachua County, was a questionnaire kind of to guide us on some of the topics that we should talk through before posting the job description to make sure everyone's on the same page and you guys are all aligned. So what that is, we'll kind of go through this questionnaire, talk about a couple of these topics. I can give you some backup on most of these questions. And that's really our goal today for the search process. Once this is done, we'll be able to create the job description, post with the requirements that you guys are looking for, and really start the search process. So any questions before we start?
No, sir.
Okay. So looking at the first question, what is the minimum years of local government management experience do you want, and is there a particular field? So it's important to think here about leadership experience. When we look at other counties, the average is usually 10 years of leadership experience with 5 years of high executive experience and 5 years of government experience. That's what I've seen on an average looking at other job descriptions from comparable local counties. So something to think about, how much do you want, and then how much specifically government leadership experience do you want?
That certainly sounds good as a starting point. I mean, we're not, whatever the candidates are, we're not going to hold them to that, but they have to have some of that, some of each one. And so I think that's a good starting point.
I have a question. Are we going to go over each and every question now with you?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I think it's important for
I
us
just
to
want to
go
make sure
through
that
and
we're
all be on the
going to all
same page.
comment
Yeah.
on our thoughts. Okay.
Exactly,
Thank
yeah,
you.
that way we're all on the same page moving
Okay,
forward.
thank you.
Also help your staff screen out.
Exactly, yeah, it gives us the guidelines to put into the posting. That way we can screen for minimums, and then FACM will be the ones reviewing the candidates to make a short list for you guys.
So you're thinking the 5 years as an assistant or deputy or director, and then 10 years in other leadership?
Yeah, I'd say like the 5 years at a higher level, leadership position, probably in, I would say, local government should be required, along with 10 years of general leadership experience.
I would think it would be somebody who's been a county administrator. I don't.
Well, I think you'll get that with like this
Okay.
group. If you had someone who's been a county administrator for a while and, you know, they'll meet the minimums and
Yeah,
if they're
I
interested,
don't,
they'll apply.
I can't imagine just anybody who's got higher end experience in something else would be apropos. So it wasn't versed that way, so I just want to make sure we're staying with somebody with administration, government administration direction, but I would prefer it to be county or city management, a manager.
Local
rather than-
government.
So my question is this, is that just employment years, or will we be looking at, let's say if we get someone from the private sector, if we decide to select or accept applications from the private sector, if they work with local government, not for local government, but let's say they do some variation of it, will they be ruled out because they don't meet the minimum criteria of working for a local government? There's a with versus for,
Yeah, it's
you
up
know,
to you
like,
guys,
let's say if
however
you
you
get a CEO or something, but he's had extensive experience working with government. I guess that's the question for me, because I don't know if we'll end up kicking out a bunch of people right off the get-go that could, you know, be private sector candidates that might be good for it. I don't know.
Yeah, it just really comes to how much do you value direct government experience versus
Versus-
external.
Yeah, I would think there might be a case where somebody came from the private sector, but it would have to be an exceptional
Right.
case,
Yeah.
very exceptional case. Because there's nothing like being in the trenches and working in government.
Yeah, it's
Not the
different.
same.
Just
It's
came from
not
private
the
sector
same.
here.
Yeah,
It's
it's
definitely
not the
different.
same.
And what about, let me think, I lost what I was thinking. I'll get back to it.
Okay.
Out of Florida's expertise, so let's say I'm coming from Michigan and I've been a administrator in Michigan. Does that open me to this position?
Yes, well, remember, if you recall, rest his soul, Jorge came to us from the West Coast. And he
West
was
Coast of Florida or the
West Coast of
West
the
Coast
United
of
States.
Oregon.
Okay,
But that was
So-
also not at this capacity.
No,
right.
I think there's a
Need,
level that we're going to be asking our chief executive to be, the learning curve is going to be a lot smaller.
right.
Because they, you know, as my personal opinion, Florida experience will be highly valuable, with a bonus if you come from a coastal community. That would be the optimal,
yeah.
but we'll see.
Understood beaches,
There's just so many. You're right.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we should set a minimum of local government management experience.
What level of management, though? I don't see this as a stepping stone for
Someone moving up.
taking a deputy. Oh, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I don't know that I would be, and I think recent experiences, I want to go interview more people this time.
Yes.
Than, because I think it could be a deputy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just rule them out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Without, you know, if they meet all these other criterias and they're just a deputy, I want to talk to them.
100%.
I think that's what I want to do this
Right.
time, is have more conversations.
And if he's got, or she has a deputy situation for 20 years, I think they've heard more than somebody who's had 5 years. So I don't think that would disqualify somebody too much. I agree with you, Andy, on
Give
that.
you like an example, Clay County's is 15 years in government or county government or business management with a minimum of 5 years at an executive level. So you're kind of, if you had someone from the public sector with 15 years of strong leadership experience and 5 years at an executive level leadership, it doesn't, you're not requiring only government experience, but you're saying you're open to just 15 years of high-level experience.
So will these, if they don't meet these criteria as we set today, is it like an automatic kick out?
Yeah,
Are
as
these
long- if-
eyes on, or is this some sort of?
No, it's eyes on. We don't use, we
Okay,
don't have.
you
like-
just automatic kick out. You don't look for like an exception that might rise to the level of having
Unless
most
we
of what
put
we
like
want.
preferred or something. I think it's a good way to, you know, screen the candidates.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's too what FACM will help us with, because
Yeah, I mean, if you
through
leave
their
it,
lens, they might be able to see something.
Well, anything anybody can add.
I want to see the education that's required.
Yeah,
You jump to experience. I'm more leaning towards education.
education, background.
yeah, we can scoot down to education. In my opinion, I think the minimum education should be a bachelor's degree.
In public administration.
Yeah, I'd say in public administration or maybe business administration.
Business administration is
Different.
private,
It's different.
it's not
is.
public.
Yeah, I have business administration.
So, I don't know, I think that there's going to be a learning curve here if you go with somebody that does not have public administration.
You're going to miss a lot of good candidates if you wheel that box down to just public administration. A lot of, I mean, I understand.
We tried it in
the point.
Flagler Beach, we went with a CEO, CFO. We tried it, we went private.
How'd that work out?
The learning curve is, the budget went well,
Yeah. money,
because they're
numbers,
all at 10%
numbers, right.
reduction, you know, that
Right.
was
They could do that.
an automatic.
Yeah.
But, well, we have strong finance, so finance is not the same in public as it is in private
No,
at all.
not at all.
So, depends if you got that private person that does have some public experience, maybe not degree, it might work. But yeah, a bachelor's at a minimum.
Yeah, so that's important.
Agree.
Would
We all
a
want education.
master's
Educate.
preferred?
I think that depends on the person. If somebody's been working in the field
Because you
all
can give
that
credit
time,
for experience
experience really counts on
as
that.
opposed to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you put a bachelor's degree required, that'll create the minimum there. And then if you
Right.
put a master's degree preferred, you're going to lend a little more.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean they
We
can't
sort of
proceed it.
agree with the way it's written as it is, so that he can.
No, required. I think you have to require it.
Yeah, we agree on that.
And, I mean, you could look at the field
Don't
there.
give
I think
example, you're not going to give examples of bachelor degrees.
We can,
If
sometimes,
you do
a lot
preferred,
of job
if you do
descriptions
preferred on masters, you can put preferred on public administration.
Yeah, I think the
Guys,
thing,
I just don't want every accountant with a bachelor's
Yeah.
degree applying for this job.
Yeah. Going to get 100 people.
It
that-
doesn't mean they'd be selected for interview, but it would, you may have somebody that
good
never
luck.
went to school for that, but has been an absolute rock star in a county sector.
But this is it's the highest level of the county government too. So I do want somebody who has a strong background and significance. I love rock stars.
okay, so bachelor's
There they
degree
are, right
definitely
there.
required. And the question is, do you want to have it a specific degree, required? When you ask for a bachelor's degree required, are we going to say a bachelor's degree in public administration, political science, business, or law,
Get that into the weeds.
or closely related field?
You can say preferred for a bachelor, for public admin, but I wouldn't exclude it,
Yeah, I wouldn't monk them out.
the
Yeah,
others.
I think that's right. Bachelor's required
Preferred in these
Preferred.
areas.
in these areas.
Right.
Yeah,
Sounds
that's
great.
good.
That works. And then same thing, master's preferred in these areas.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Yeah, that works.
That could be part of a points system. I don't know if we're working on a point system, but somebody with a master's may get an extra point or two, right?
Yeah, we can
They
talk
could
through it more
actually
with-
talk about that too, so.
And then I guess going back to the minimum experience in local government and just in general, what do we want to do?
Yeah, no more skipping forward.
Yeah.
I know, I
Really,
got
I'm
lost
dizzy
there. Like,
already.
no. All right, so you want to have a minimum in local government, or if you do, that's fine. And you always have the lovely word preferred.
We prefer, we
So
prefer
5 years in local
Yeah.
and
10 years
10
in
years, what did you have, 10 years in leadership or?
administration.
Yeah, I think 10 years in leadership is good, in a leadership role or executive role. Well, it's a leadership role.
I don't know executive.
Meaning what, 5 as the administrator or deputy? Or, I think 10's too much.
No, I think the 10 would be overall leader. So if
Okay.
I was a director
Total
for
of
10
10.
years,
Right.
but then, 5 of it was with, let's say I worked for a private company and I was a director for 10 years. Then I came here and I was in government for 5, I would be qualified. Or if I was 5 and 5, then I would be qualified.
We're looking at a 10-year background, period.
Yeah, of your 10-year period, 5
Right,
of them should be.
5 of 'em in
5 of it
government.
should be in local government is the
Okay.
thought,
Perfect.
so.
Okay, so 5 years in local government, 10 years with some sort of management, leadership, directorship
Exactly, that's what I would
position.
think.
Everyone comfortable with that?
And some counties are, it's really all over the place of what you guys want. Some even counties put, extensive managerial experience in public administration or business management. No years, just overall. I think having years is good.
I do.
That way you kind of weed out anyone who's less experienced, and I think you guys value years of experience. So, okay. Well,
Is there any comments on?
Did you want to throw in a Florida preference?
I do.
I think that's, we can.
Oh, what?
Skipping ahead, sorry.
No. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll go with that. The second question, I think we've already answered, that you guys are open to private sector or different levels of government.
Yeah.
I think we're good there. The next part, I think that's where we can, strongly prefer a candidate with small county management experience, specifically in beach management or something along those lines, as a strongly preferred. If I'm reading.
So it would be like, should rural or small county or coastline,
I think we could do
coastal
that,
county?
but we have to say preferred.
Yeah.
I don't think we can make that an absolute, but preferred would be good on that one.
And I don't think we're going to be, we'll be rural, but I don't think we'll be a small county
Well,
at a
it's
certain
not that,
point.
it's the fact that
Right.
by saying small county, it's not necessarily our population size. What they're saying is, we have a lot of constraints fiscally that, because we're so dependent upon residential base, and then we also have a very rural, large amount of
Rural
unincorporated
land, yeah.
that has unique issues that got to be dealt with, paving roads, drainage has never been defined, water, septic. So that was where that comes into that. I don't think it's driven by population, it's more driven by the weird constraints we have. To me, but I'm biased because I have District 4, it would always be helpful to have somebody that's dealt with dirt roads, septic, things of that, no defined stormwater plans.
But is that taking us to the next level? That's
Right,
the
no.
question.
It's not.
Well, but then it also comes down to the thing is the person able to manage a highly,
Diverse.
what do you call it? A county that's doesn't have a lot of economic growth, has budgetary constraints because of that.
Well, this county's transitioning. We're
Yeah, it
starting,
is. It's
starting up the transition
I don't know that
process
this,
of
yeah.
becoming a large county.
I'm not sure that this needs to be a question in there.
Doesn't have
It will, they will stand out,
It'll be in there, and we'll be able to look up the city or county that they just came from. So we'll know if it's coastal,
Resident's going to say something.
if it's coastal or not.
And I think part of these questions, like specifically, let's say this one is, when the 3 administrators from FACM are reviewing it, they kind of want to know what's really your priority as a board? Like, do you care more about someone who has that small experience?
It's part of it's like, I
Growing.
would like that, but at the same time, I'm looking for somebody that's gonna take it,
We're going
has
to have to
been
look
here
at
and done
growing.
that and gonna
I think
take us-
growing. Growing is more important than the size. There is a lot of growth going on here, severe. And
I think we're open.
Yeah, I think it's good to be that way. And I think, we'll work with them when they're
Was
narrowing down the list.
Everyone okay to just remove that question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll leave what we talked about before. The next thing is, we're talking about skills and competencies. Really what this is doing again is when FACM is going to be reviewing the candidates, they want to know, what skills do you guys think are the most important? What should they prioritize when they're reviewing these applications? Who should they, and they're ranking them for a short list for you guys to interview. What is the most important to you guys? Budgeting, capital improvement, grants. As a county, what's most important to us? Strategic planning, organizational management.
I think all of them,
Well, to me, first is budgeting.
budgeting,
And then second would be economic development.
yeah. That's a major right now.
But
I also
I think,
think we need, how do I say it, corrections or improvements on intergovernment relationships
I had that on
with our
here.
municipalities. I like that because that's important when we have these joint meetings. It's really more powerful if we can get more teeth into it. Be good. I don't know how everybody else feels.
Um, I I would just refer back to the job description. If the job description asks for these skills and they're going to be evaluated on these skills, they should be clearly stated in what we're looking for.
That sounds good.
Are there too many to mention?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it's really from their standpoint, what's the biggest priority for you guys? If you have someone who has a strong financial background in budgeting, is that a preferred candidate over someone else? Or is it a mix of everything?
I'm going to say just out of these, right? If I have to rank these, it's budgeting, economic development, intergovernmental relations.
Those would be my
Top
top
three.
That's,
three.
I'm
Okay,
I'm
that's
with you
fine.
on that.
But not to say there's not a,
Right.
we don't spend some more time looking at some of these, some other skills, but
Yep. I think we do very well on those other skills.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. The top three that works well. The next question is how important is experience in maximizing limited resources and securing outside funding sources, including grants?
That's
Well, that's who we are.
huge,
Yeah.
huge.
That's who we
our
are.
life.
That's our life.
Lifeblood. right?
creative.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So yes, important.
yeah.
Well, that's where experience is going to help.
That's where, yeah, I was going to say, that's where
Exactly,
this and the state as well, I know what Michigan does for grants, but I don't know, we don't want to lose the opportunity for the grants we can get right now, so I'd like somebody with that background too.
Agreed. Okay, and then leadership style. So when we look at, what leadership qualities are most important, there's a couple examples here.
it's funny, I thought consensus building and transparency are the most important, but
Yes.
if you get these top five, or 4 or 5, you shouldn't need crisis management at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Right.
Which is yeah. I think,
I would just take those three, consensus building and transparency and strategic thinking. I don't know if that sounds crazy or,
I had on here too, creating, this is just my note, creating a culture of accountability and collaboration. I think that's a
like that.
large one.
I think this, right, I think stabilization is kind of important at this stage too, and evaluation, personnel evaluation as they come in, off the top of my head anyway, somebody that's coming in, getting everybody, bringing everybody together quickly.
Well, that's consensus.
Consensus
building.
building, yeah,
There, yeah.
that's number one.
Well, and from what I hear from county administrator past, I think transparency is really important.
Very much, very much.
Because we've promised that to our community, and that's what we're trying
Say it every
to
day.
get.
Yeah.
So we don't really want to end up with an administrator who is very secretive or,
Yeah.
We had one of those.
yeah, that's
We
what I
did.
heard. So that's going to be really important. So consensus building, transparency are important. And I don't know what the right wording is, but, you know, we really want to make sure, we're not just talking about running the budget and the board and everything, we're also staff. Like, what kind of person do you want to manage staff? You know, and I don't know what the right word is that, you know, on the one hand, we want to protect our staff, you know.
Yeah, I
These are
had-
people who are here for a career, long-term career. We don't want, we want them to feel comfortable that, you know, things are not going to be so drastically changed, you know, or anything like that. So I don't know what that word is for that type of leadership,
Staff building,
you know, that's going to be important.
staff support.
Yeah, I had like a fair and consistent treatment of staff, high ethical standards, developing leaders,
Yeah.
and then creating a culture of
Yeah.
accountability and collaboration between staff. I think all of that goes into like organizational culture.
Yeah.
You're looking for someone who's going to come in and
Right.
work with our staff,
Yeah, I'm not
develop
looking for
them.
Chainsaw Al. I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
we don't want that.
Put it into
Yes.
words. This is the way I ran my ship, so you put it into words. I made each department head the captain of their department.
Exactly.
And if you got problems, come see me. You know, that,
Yeah, empowering your staff.
yeah, empowering the staff, yeah.
Agreed.
Somebody that can do that.
Yeah, we just want to make sure we get someone that
Not
is
micromanaging,
well respected by the staff, you know.
yeah,
Agreed. I think that's a good thing.
except you.
Okay. I think we have a good overview of leadership style. We talked about education, so we're good there. And then some other
missed
things.
one.
You know, the important, you have on leadership style, how important is community visibility and attendance? I think
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I think that would be nice to have an administrator that is sort of the face for the board, more so than the board having to break up and go out and do, I'm talking about like, I don't even know how to describe that. It would be nice to have an administrator who's out in front of the press more often, talking about these things that are, you know, in the community. It's okay for us to go on Free for All Friday and all of that stuff, but it would be nice to have somebody who's comfortable being at these sort of things, you know.
That makes sense, yeah.
Well, in many of those critical, at times, you want one voice
Right,
and not multiple different, so, and that's when that is helpful.
I feel like we've sometimes fend for ourselves and maybe we shouldn't be having, it would be
Explain
nice to
yourself.
have one person, like, give us a call the moment the issue breaks and then says, this is how I'm going to handle it, and just handles it, you know?
So you think as a spokesperson,
Right,
right?
right.
So,
Unfortunately, some of the public blogging that we get will go on, may go on to somebody else. So they have to be able to, you know, to deal with it. And this is public, dealing with the public, dealing with, they have gripes, they have concerns, they also have good ideas and suggestions. So I think it's overall being able to, you know, just speak for us or call us and say, this just came up, I want to advise you on it. We have a communication team that can help make the statement. We just went through that with admin coming out with a statement before we did it. It was very well done, it was to the point. But we can't have somebody that's sitting in an office just plugging away behind a computer. The public is part of this job.
Yeah.
well, that's perfect. I think you answered it well.
I think you're under professional certifications.
Yeah, so professional certifications, should a candidate be ICMA credentialed administrators or eligible for the designation? Do you have that
Yes.
required or preferred?
Yes.
You say yes, you sure that you want to preferred and then make it a,
Yeah.
if they don't have it, it could be a condition
Yep.
of
Yeah, it can be
Could you say what
preferred.
the ICMA is,
working
please?
on?
They
I'm
could
going to put a
work
lot
on it.
more
And-
weight
yeah.
towards it, but
What is
you guys might
ICMA?
not, but I am. But
No, I don't disagree
if
with you,
it's
but,
preferred, or they can be working towards it. Yep.
or we could make it a condition of the contract to
Yeah.
they get
Right.
it within so many,
Within a
You have the
certain time
opportunity
period.
to-
right?
Yep.
If you
Okay,
do
so-
find one.
That works. It's important. It's preferred, but we'll come up with, once we work through the contract, we can come through and see what that
Add it in.
requirement looks
Highly
like.
qualified people won't mind. the
Yeah,
word
no, they won't,
preferred.
yeah.
People that are thinking about jumping into something like this,
Yeah,
you'll be able to pick them out.
yeah, no, I think it's a good thing. What about any other certifications? Anything else that stands out to you guys that you think would be important or preferred?
Really?
I don't
I
know
think
of
we're making
anything.
people more jumping hoops. I'd rather have a larger base of applicants than so limited that we're losing possibly the right person because of some minor detail.
I'm not sure, yeah, we probably don't need to add anything there. If in between now and then, you can come up with some certification, like to see,
Or if
We
in
could
the
always make it a
application,
condition.
it says list any other certifications.
yeah.
They have an
we can put that in the
opportunity to disclose
application.
that,
Yeah.
bring it to the table.
Sounds great, okay. All right, so now for the fun part. What are we thinking for an anticipated salary? So I think it's important here, we have to come up with a range for the posting. That way, the applicants can see it. When we posted for the county attorney position, it was 175 to 250 was the range. I think that's a good range. We can narrow it down a little bit if you'd rather do 190 to 230. It really,
What's the current range? Do we not have a range?
well, it's contracted, so typically,
Oh.
you're
So
gonna
it's
you're
not
gonna
on your
negotiate a
list? It's not on
starting.
your list?
Yeah, you're gonna negotiate a starting salary with this person, and then from there.
Compared to any other counties?
Yeah, I think the hard part with comparing to other counties, when you look back at the time, you have to look at when the contract was obviously agreed upon and what they were making then, and then what it looks like now with COLA and if they have a merit. So their salary rate pay, their current pay looks way different than what their starting salary pay would be. Maybe more recent, and it's kind of a broad range, like I said, St. John's from 2023, the starting was 285, obviously a way bigger county. Nassau County from 2020 was 166 with the same COLA, and then a 3% merit if they have a successful rating. So, thinking through where do you want them to start, and then what does that look like with a COLA and potential merit or whatever you want to do. So that's why I think the range is good. That way you don't necessarily take out someone who's highly qualified and you're going to have to pay them a little more, or someone who maybe is.
Well, I think the 175 to 250 gives us a lot of flexibility, a lot.
Yeah,
And I think we're going to need that.
yeah, I think that's good.
That's a
That's
huge range.
$75,000 range.
How about 175 to 2,
2.25,
2.25?
yeah, 225. That gives us room to grow. I don't know, it sounds silly, but it's not that silly.
My thought on it is I think it's going to be hard to find someone at that 175 range. If they have any experience, that starting pay is not going to suffice. That's just my opinion on what
Well,
I've seen from
somebody
the
else
other
is at
contracts.
166 right now, so.
No, that was, they're
They could-
currently at 225 in Nassau County.
But they
but-
started at 166, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, and that was in 2020,
So you,
so 6 years ago.
so how about 190 to 250 or 190 to 240?
Yeah, I don't like that bigger range, I'd like to tighten it up a little bit better.
Let's just talk about the job for a minute. It
Yeah.
is a $200,000 a year plus
Right.
job.
I agree.
It just is. It's a hard, but
Wow.
if I work in corporate, I mean, this is, you're managing a budget of X amount, plus X amount of people, plus union, plus the varying of an airport, of a, this is the job. To get a good person in this seat, to take on a 24/7, pick up the phone, go in front of the public, crisis management, don't go home for dinner job, it is a 200,000 plus a year job. It just is.
What's the average income here?
So, you gotta, you want good, you gotta pay for good.
What's the average income here?
That opinion. You and I, the public thinks
Current
this is
for-
not,
you're
you can't
asking
believe
what
how much
Heidi's
you
was?
pay, but that's,
No.
you want somebody to do
No,
this
what,
kind of
what the
job.
current,
It's gonna cost.
what's the current income in Flagler County?
I'm not sure.
Nobody knows that, right?
What is it? 75,000?
75,000. Just wanted to know where that is. Thank you, Laura.
So what's your number?
But they're not doing this
Chairman?
job.
I understand
You
that.
wanna know what my number is on this job?
Go ahead.
From what I've witnessed and what I've seen, this is a $230,000 to $260,000 a year job.
I don't,
That is a hard pill to swallow, but I believe that. And mainly because I've worked in corporate my whole life, and the people that put out at that level get paid. That's saying I'm setting aside my life to do this, to deliver a budget of this size. I mean, that's what, they actually get more. They get stock and everything. And I'm not trying to make it a corporate job. I'm just telling you the level, what we want this person to live up to, we'll need to pay a
and what,
decent
and
rate.
what about, but you have to also look into the benefits too. Because benefits are very, very, very financially
yeah.
helpful. So if you talk about healthcare and how inexpensive it is here, right? Because the average family
was
of four
Ms.
is paying
Petito's
$150 a
exiting
week.
salary?
Ending? I think it was 212.
212, her exiting salary was 212. So I'm more inclined to to put the range around 195 to 235 or something like that. Because now you're going to get someone that comes in and they are going to get COLA, and then we never had a moment where we talked about merit, I don't believe, that I can recall with Ms. Petito. But if this person performs to the level that you're looking for, you will see merit on top of that. And then they'll strive towards getting merit, so they'll get more pay. This is just my opinion, I'm only one of 5, but I don't think what you're hoping to get is gonna show up for a lower price.
Yeah, I agree.
My plan 4 years ago was with performance incentives, so
Yes.
stating the goals which is something to achieve, not just the overall
You got an A.
performance evaluation of the A, but specific goals that we set up, and they get a merit increase based on achieving those.
Right.
Or not.
I mean, you think I'm crazy, but
Right.
you're in a different tax bracket, and you're working 60 hours a week, and, you definitely, I agree with the performance incentive, and very tied to very specific goals. But I just think if we're trying to get that next level to get us there and get us out of some of our issues, you're going to have to offer an attractive salary. So,
I'm fine with 195 to 235.
thoughts?
Yeah, well, I can live with that, 195 to 235.
I mean, this area is going to draw some candidates. Hopefully, it's not the ones that want to retire.
Well, the next question is, are you willing to negotiate for exceptional?
Right.
So when you say negotiate for exceptional, would it be above and beyond the 235, or,
Right, that's what that means.
Yeah.
but would they know that when they apply?
They'll know they're exceptional.
They'll believe
know
they'll
that.
believe
I
it
guess
anyway,
my-
that's for sure.
That's not going to be in the contract. That's us to
Yeah,
decide.
that's not going to be
Yeah,
right. And
that's
that's
us.
not going to be in our ad. It's going to be, this is for
Us.
them to bring.
Initial,
To bring
initial,
us.
initial.
Well,
I don't know.
so I guess my next question is, if we decide on performance incentives, which will come later, the job request can say plus salary range plus performance incentive, right? If we decide
You're
on
saying
something
for
like
the
that. So
posting
they
or
know
for-
that there's a potential for more, like in the post.
We could-
Here's
it
the
would-
range plus performance incentives.
Yeah, I
as
think,
directed by a board.
I'm assuming that most of the applicants understand that it's a contracting position
Yeah.
and they're going to negotiate
'Cause to
with
me,
their
like,
salary.
That makes sense.
Just because they know the kind of position they're applying for at
It's
this
like-
level.
Yeah.
So I think the range gives them an idea of where you guys want to start, and then, after that, it really is going to depend on their experience and what they want to negotiate for.
So the range covers, if we did 195 to 235, it covers what it was in range today when Ms. Petito left. And then we can always put, plus performance incentives as adopted by the board. And then they'll know, like, maybe I'm coming in a little bit lower, but I have an opportunity to earn. Right? Plus, there's going to be benefits. And that we're gonna
Benefits
get
are going to
to.
be huge.
But I feel like to get people to show up, it's going to have to be 200 plus
Yeah, agreed,
for this.
So,
For somebody in the business world to get into the government sector would definitely sacrifice some numbers in order to get into that beneficial world. I feel that way. I may be wrong, but I
Well,
do feel that way.
Will FACT tell us whether or not they feel that they're hindered on hiring based on our salary, or do they give feedback? We don't know yet.
I can ask
Yeah.
them, of course. I can share like the thoughts from you guys. I'm going to share once we create the job posting, I'll have them review it, have them share any thoughts, and then I can run it back with you guys.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, that's what we're paying them for.
Exactly. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
paying for their feedback, so
Yeah.
we can talk through these topics now, and then once I create the posting, we can. They might push back and say, I don't know if this is a really enticing ad or not,
Okay.
and I'll ask them for that feedback. That's what they're for.
So are we leaving the exceptional candidates negotiate?
Yes.
We are?
Yeah,
Just in
that's
case.
for us.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
part.
Okay.
They won't,
That's not going to be in the
It's not going to
advertisement.
be in the questionnaire?
No.
Okay,
So
thank
are we
you.
okay with the 195 to 235 for the
Yeah.
exceptional?
Yeah, let's try it.
See what
That's
happens.
a good start.
Can always be adjusted at another
Yeah.
time, right?
Exactly.
Got time.
Yeah, we can see how things look exactly. The other part of this is benefits. So obviously, if you look at some of the contracts, or all of them, one of the big negotiation pieces is benefits on top of salary. So that's probably where there's wiggle room. A lot of the different common benefits are, some of them have a preferred comp or deferred comp on top of FRS. So that's a unique one. If salary is not there, that's another option. You have 20 severance, which we talked about before, is 20 weeks. You have car allowances. Some vary from $400 a month to $600 a month. Cell phone stipends, majority or healthcare coverage, meaning like not just offering healthcare benefits, but paying the cost of healthcare. And then a life insurance policy. So those are things just to think about that a candidate might bring up when they're negotiating their salary, and what are you guys willing to do or not?
Do you need guidance on any of these today for,
Well, we don't want to put that in writing.
I don't want to,
We
but
don't
what
put
if,
any-
want anything in
if
there.
they call and say, I'm calling in from Colorado, will you
Right.
relocate me?
Exactly.
You're just going to
Exactly.
tell them that that's decision by the board to pay for those services?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it would be
Got
like,
It'd be very costly.
So these,
Do you know what again, other than more money,
Right.
what is the rationale if your administrator lives in the county to pay for a car allowance?
None.
It's just an incentive. That's it.
Right.
That's it. There's
I
nothing.
think it's
No
bad.
rationale behind it.
Like
I
that.
think it's passe.
I don't
think
like
it's
that.
passe, especially at a salary range that high. All they're going to do probably is turn around and throw it back out for more money, but I think a car allowance is
Does that include
I
gas?
think you pay taxes on a car allowance different than you do on your wage.
You can,
I
if
think
you're,
there is an incentive there.
I always did.
To break out the car allowance. Do you know that, Michael? Do you know if that's,
It's asking a tax question.
No,
you get a car allowance, right?
that would be a tax question, and I'm not going to
You're
phone
not
my
gonna-
wife for an
I don't
answer.
blame you. I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
No, that's a tax issue.
I think the idea behind it, or why someone would negotiate for it, is if I'm using my car to drive around the county for county business.
Well, we have cars.
We have
got a
vehicles
whole
all over the
fleet.
place.
We got a whole fleet.
Well, I think that's the point. Maybe they
Use
get
And
of
we have
our-
ambulances, and we
We'll
have.
have to, you know what, though, you might have to figure that out. Does a fleet car cost less than a car allowance? You
Right.
know? So that would be
We
the argument.
need to really start thinking about that.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
reasonable to negotiate
Yeah,
in
we
there and
got-
say,
we-
okay,
we
we'll give
got
you a
fleet
car
cars,
instead of a car allowance.
And when we go to Tallahassee, they give us a
A
58
stipend.
cents a mile or 53 cents a mile, whatever it is.
That could rack up on a
Rack it up.
administrator.
Rack
I think
it
by,
up.
by comparisons in other governments that I've been at where there are car allowances, a employee who receives a car allowance is not eligible then to get mileage reimbursements
yeah.
for any
Right.
of their work.
It's one or the
So-
other.
Right, it's one or the other, so you,
Yeah.
And then they could be taking
County commissioners
depreciation
get
too.
neither.
Yeah, we-
Neither.
Yeah, I think,
All right,
No worries.
I think either
Okay.
one, providing a vehicle or an allowance is
Yeah.
the way to go. You know, if you feel like it's better to provide a vehicle, that works.
Well, the average car right now is $58,000. I don't think we should be paying for that either.
well, I think as we move in,
Okay, great.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Tickle
We're done
again.
with that portion.
so this gets us in the door at the league, at the Florida Association to start plugging away at
Yeah,
a
it's-
candidate building model, some type of letting people know.
Exactly. I think it's good for them to kind of know what your desires are, and then
Okay.
now we have some minimums when we post this, and then once those applicants come through, we'll screen them for minimums, we'll send them over to them, they'll review it, and they'll create a short list. Yeah, it's something we can talk about today, the short list process. You know, it's hard because we don't know how many applicants we're going to get. And I know when I spoke to Michelle, sometimes, you know, you may have a small amount of applicants and they may think none of them are good, and they'll tell you that. So I think that's a good part of the process is they're not just going to create a list for you to give you a list. They're going to actually vet these applicants and say, I think this is a good, solid candidate or not. And that might lead to, if there's a small pool, you might not get any, but hopefully that's not the case. And hopefully we get a lot of applicants and they can narrow it down to a real list for you guys to interview. So, okay. Any other questions or concerns right now with the search? So I'll take care of this on the back end. We'll get the job posted. I'll work with FACM to have them review our posting. And yeah, we'll get it posted and see what the applicant pool starts looking like. So
I
excited to
have a
move
quick
forward.
question, Charlie. Is there anything outside of this that would give an applicant more points or less points? Is that how this works here? In whatever, like they're local, do they get bonus points or less points? Maybe not. I'm just wondering how we're going to be scoring people in that situation. If they don't have if we're going to pay for them to fly in from, to relocate here, it's going to be $20,000 to $50,000 up front without performance. So if somebody's here, are they going to get, more points? Or is it a point system that we're working on, or what are we working on here?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, like I'm probably going to talk to FACM to see how they've handled some of the interviews in the past and the typical interviewing process and what standards they've normally used. I'm going to rely on them to kind of give me some guidance on how we want to set up these interviews. And, we'll probably do one-on-one interviews mixed with a public interview like we did with the county attorney. I'm assuming that'll be some of their guidance. But I think we'll start the process now, and then once I have more information, I'll come back to you guys and we can say, here's what this process is going to look like from an interview standpoint.
Yeah, I'm just curious about our vetting process. This is great questions.
The
I'm
current-
glad we have them.
Yeah.
The vetting is my concerns.
Yeah, I think right now they're going to vet them on, the minimum qualifications, but then they're going to look at a lot of the things we talked about today, what skills they have,
Right.
the experience level and everything, and that's how they'll create their short list for you. don't know if they'll consider local or not. I mean, we have some.
Well, there's
some
just other
parameters.
things too. There's all kinds of factors
Yeah.
that are going through my head as we're talking here.
Well, according to this contract that we signed with the Florida Association of County Managers, they picked the short list.
Yeah.
We're not going to be seeing all these applications.
Well, it depends. If we want them to give us the top 10,
Exactly.
then we should do that, you know?
With the top 20.
Will we be provided all applications regardless of what short list they come up with so that we know who applied? And
Right.
that would be my.
I want the list.
I can do that. Yeah. I think
think-
it's,
I think
they're
that-
very flexible
Why
as
did we
far.
why do we pay $7,500 for them to do it?
They're going to do a
This is what-
cursory.
No, they're going to give us suggestions on where to place advertisements to solicit the application. They're going to provide assistance to us and the county staff to develop a list of identified characteristics, which I believe is the exercise we just went through,
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
and attributes for successful candidates. They're going to facilitate a volunteer group of themselves, Florida County administrators or former county managers, to review the qualifications of the list of candidates. And then they're going to provide us with a short list.
But we determine the short list. What's that number?
No,
No, well, you're both right. The short list, you can determine what you want that list to look like. Do you want them to rank, when I talk to Michelle, they'll rank every candidate 1 through whatever the candidates are, if
okay.
you want that.
All right.
But if you prefer them, like, kind of like you're saying, if you prefer them to narrow it down
Okay.
to 3 or 5 or 10, they'll do that. So they're very open to doing
Okay.
whatever you guys want as a client. So whatever you feel more comfortable with. If you want them to rank all applicants 1 through whatever it is, they can do that too.
be a clearinghouse.
I'm hoping this is an interactive process along the way. Will they be coming to us?
Yeah, they're
Will
open
we be
to,
Zooming, or how is that going to work?
we can do it however, whatever you guys prefer or feel more comfortable with. If I talked to Michelle, I mean, if you want her to come in and give some feedback on the process and where we're at, or once we have the job posting, if you want her to come in and talk through the rest of the process, we can do that too. She did mention she's open to doing that. So it's whatever you guys desire. Either I can work with her and get her feedback on these things and bring them to you, or I can have her come and share her thoughts.
I mean, I would send back what we've done today and then ask for their suggestions moving forward. And I'm okay with them coming to us, you know, and so we can have a more interactive conversation to get to learn our personalities a little bit
Yeah, and
during
like
this
in
process.
who's narrowing your list down, you get to know them a little bit more too. I can do that.
There's a question upon communication skills, really important to me. They're not communicating in a certain comfortable level, then there's always concern. So that's, I think, a great idea to have them in person, whoever's coming.
Yeah, I think they're open to either whatever you guys desire or feel more comfortable with, they're willing to do from my conversation with her.
Good job.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, cool. Well, I got my direction. We'll move forward with that. I'll get their input on the posting, and I'll share that feedback with you guys. Thank you. Moving on to the next topic. Okay, so this is something we talked about in the past, that we were going to review the county administrator and county attorney performance evaluations, just based on feedback from the last go-around. I wanted to make sure, I addressed your concerns, and we reviewed this together, getting ready for performance reviews in October. Obviously, we don't know, this new candidate is not going to go through this process this first go-around by the time we hire on whoever the new person is. But I think it's important to have it established, and we're all on the same page of how we want to evaluate them and what kind of goals we're thinking about. So we're really going to run through all of that with the county attorney's job description, or county attorney's performance evaluation, and the county administrator's performance evaluation. So there's a lot to talk about here. I have some examples. I'll show you kind of what I've drafted. And I really just want your feedback on if you like it or not, or you want me to change anything, and what your thoughts are. So that's the goal for this. Kind of what I just went over. So today we're going to look at, a review for each, the administrator and the attorney. We're going to look at the current job description, current performance evaluation. I'll talk about some information I got from other sample county evaluations. We'll look at the drafts we created based on your feedback in the past, and what I think is good moving forward. We can establish some performance goals for both positions, and then discuss additional evaluation options. So there's some things I want to talk about in each one. And then for you guys, obviously, to give us some instruction. So the county attorney job description, I put it in here, but we did review this last year before we hired Mr. Rodriguez. So I wanted to put it in here. If you wanted to talk about it or look through it again, we can. But to me, this was something I know we did discuss it last year. So it's really up to you guys if you want to discuss this today.
I'm good with it. I think we reviewed
Fine.
it.
Fine,
Yeah.
we're good.
We're
Okay.
good.
I figured I just wanted to put it in there just in case. So the current evaluation for the county attorney, I think it's good. It's not bad, but it isn't up to date, and it's a pretty old process. Karen, if you can click the document link, the one underneath of it, or if you go back to the presentation, the one on the very bottom.
Excuse me.
So yeah, it's an old school process. That's why I thought it was important to update it. This is what it looked like before. It was paper. It wouldn't be online, and this was the way Al was evaluated prior. And I think it was, if you go back to the presentation.
Oops, wrong glasses.
So there were 5 areas, pretty broad overview with some questions in each one. When I started looking at the other counties, I looked at 10 other counties, pulled all of their backup, and what we found is the most common rating scale was a 5-point scale. Al's was a 4. Then we looked for the most frequently used performance measures, so I have them listed here. These are what we kind of saw across the board in all the different evaluations, so you can see them there. I have links to the examples, but there's 10 different evaluations. I just figured it'd be easier to pull it together and say, here's what the majority of them have as rating criteria. So when we look at the action,
Can we go back?
yeah,
So relations with the public and the press. I don't know that Mr. Rodriguez, or not just to make this, he just happens to be sitting in the chair. Why would that be in there? It would not be our attorney's job to talk to the press.
No.
hang on, that's the overview of what the other ones
Others
use.
have done? Okay, but it's not in ours, I don't think.
No, we have relations with the public, not the press in ours. So if, Karen, if you can click that link to the document here. We can kind of go through. So like I said, we use the same 5-point rating scale that we've been using. And we can go through some of these questions. This is what the draft that I created would look like. So the first one is interpersonal relationships with the board. So you guys, you can see there if you want to take a second to read through. Okay, we probably scroll down. Interpersonal relationships with the staff, interpersonal relations with the public. And that's really dealing with the community. I think some good examples are the current stuff with Hammock and the way we're handling those situations. I think that's an important thing to look at. As the county attorney, is he treating the public with respect and creating an effective relationship with the public? So I think we kind of the press part was just in the other ones.
So if we go up to number 2, yeah, with staff. So currently, our current lawyer has split the departments up amongst the 3 attorneys, all of which report to him. So if there's a problem in one of the other attorneys' areas, does it count against our number 1 attorney?
Yeah, my thought here is there's a couple ways you can look at interpersonal relations with the staff. We could do a 360 survey, send it out to department heads and get feedback on their specific interaction with the attorney. And that could be a backup for you guys to review to see how the rest of the county staff interact with him directly, and that's what those questions would be.
Well, it wouldn't be all staff, it would only be directors. I don't think
Yeah,
a
directors, that's
non-director.
exactly,
Okay.
that's what my thought is
Okay.
too. I would send it only director level to see what the interactions are, and as a guideline.
So timely with staff, to me, might mean something different to somebody else.
Favor people.
So I guess that would be up to the attorney to set realistic expectations on that one, because courteous and professional, even when conflict or differences. Okay.
And then the same thing with public. You can scroll down some more.
Yep.
You got the press in there again.
Well, with everything.
Mr. Rodriguez, do you ever see a time when you would be talking to the press?
There are times when I have been called to clarify a statement or
Okay.
clarify an issue. Usually I try to keep my communications with the press at a minimum, just in my experience, I
So do I.
know how to communicate with them. I mean, also just in the interpersonal relations with the public is also a tricky one, because there's times that I have to always remember my ethical obligation is that I'm an attorney with one client. And my one client is you guys. And I know that sometimes there's a public perception that as the county attorney, I'm also the attorney for the public, but I'm not. I'm the attorney for the Board of County Commissioners. And that there are some times and in some issues where this position or a position I have to take is going to be adversarial to the public. Or to a member of the public. And that's something that
That's going to happen.
it needs to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, but do you want it in your job performance review?
Well, that shouldn't be something to be taken into consideration unless it's something that's so egregious that
Right.
you want to make note of it. Now, is it something that's kind of part and parcel with the job? I know in other jurisdictions that I've worked at, it's been the policy of the attorney's office that they don't even deal directly with the public.
Right,
Right.
right. I don't see it being, if we end up in a point system or a weighted system, I see this as less than 2% of what
That's one of my
our
questions,
attorney
yeah.
is supposed to do. So
I agree.
I would strike it, but if his office, and I believe you are responsible for public records requests, then I think that needs to follow somewhere, maybe under competency, but we do need to address our system for public records requests. But I don't think dealing with the public or interpersonal relationships with the public has anything to do with his job.
What about thoughts on like community partners, like dealing with, just like when we talk about the county administrator, that's going to be one of the topics in here. They're going to have to deal with other community partners. Do you not?
Our attorney is an advisor to us.
No.
It's not, it has
Works for
nothing
me.
to do with the public.
Works
It
for
really
me.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, Sarah works probably more with the public than Mr. Rodriguez does, because she deals with land use, right? So I could see that. Sean's working on easements for the beach. But all in all, I don't want to put any emphasis on
The public.
the public.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, This is why we had
Yeah,
this,
I know.
talk through it.
And that's why
I
I
agree.
wanted to make sure that some of these weighted scoring
Items.
That's one of-
things
yeah, one of my
doesn't get
ques-
exploited
Exactly.
because it's in a job, I don't have to answer it. It's just not part of his job.
Let's put, that would be an exception to the rule of his performance rather than a yes or no in a rating. If I had a problem with him today, or whoever the legal counsel is, I would address it immediately, and it wouldn't be necessarily here, and it's how they behaved afterwards that would give me an idea of how their interpersonal relationships are, but it's not about, the public, it's about his competency towards me.
And if it was in there, Kim, you could just put NA.
See, I hate doing that. I want a job performance that ties to the job description, which ties to goals and objectives. So just putting flowery words in there, I want to give more points on the next one, legal counsel and competency, and not put the numbers in number 3. Now,
See, I think everything in number 3 is 100% worthy of inclusion. How much is a different component, but in all of our relationships and as we've seen, Mr. Rodriguez is dealing with community members and partners in legal matters. It could be a resident that they're dealing with on a legal matter. So I think all of our communications are respectful and effective. We act courteously and professionally. I mean, this is a standard that we expect that we should hold up to, and that the legal department as well. So I think they're 100% worthy of inclusion. It's a matter of how much we include that into the percentage that it's included.
well, you don't have them ranked in any certain order because it's certainly.
It's all 3.
Number 3, it certainly should be much further down on the bottom.
No, one of my questions later on is what do we want to do for
Okay.
weighting of these questions? So my thought, I completely agree with you. I wouldn't weight that as high as the next
Okay.
one. So I think that's part of the conversation today. So, yeah. So the question is, do you want to leave this in here? Or do you want me to revise it, change it?
Leave it in. Leave it in, I think. I think Andy's right. We leave it in there, and if you choose not to evaluate them, fine. And you're right, it'll be
Well, you do
It's
have the.
weighted.
We do give weights to each, or they
Yeah.
should be weighted appropriately.
Yeah, we'll talk through it and
Yeah.
figure out, like, I would recommend we have higher weighted questions versus other ones. So, yeah, we'll talk through it. The next one, if you can scroll down a little bit. Oh, I guess it's 2 pages, so.
Keep going.
That's good.
The word timely is a very interesting word.
Yeah.
I want something now. Is it timely if it's an hour from now? I think that's a tricky word. I
Well,
don't know.
you could be like,
I don't
I
think
think this is where this comes into play. 4 years ago, we asked for the brick road, and legal's still working on it. So what is timely,
Well, that's the question. That's where it gets tricky.
I'd
And
like to
under
leave it in.
communication, again, if you insist on having our lawyer communicate with the public, it's not necessary. It's not part of his job or her job. Admin can communicate, they can prepare statements for the public, but I just hate seeing that office get inundated with public stuff. And you can't even walk in the office, it says right on it
Yeah, do
that you
not
can't
enter.
walk in the office. You can't.
I can strike that last piece. I think this was the standard among the 10 we looked at, and that's the only reason why.
Well, how do
it's in
you
there.
account for, like, Sarah's been doing a great job going to Flagler Beach and talking to the commission there? And that's public. I mean, there's public and that's so.
Facing.
Public is dealing with Mr. Shimento, Ken Belshi, dealing with all kinds of people that aren't board and staff.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Well, as it pertains to, yeah, all right, as it pertains to
Business.
business issues, yeah, okay.
Like, I'm not going to meet with them. Something like that. Yeah. Okay.
That's an easy.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with timely because I know,
Just one of
You
those
know,
words.
I know exactly what,
Well,
You felt.
I think it's important to think through when the evaluation period, if you're going to have an issue that, let's say Mr. Rodriguez is untimely in his response, in your opinion, you can mark that in there
The comment.
as a review. That's why you have it in there. If it's something that you think is a simple issue and you guys talk through it, and it
Timely
was
could
untimely,
be
that's
the
the time to bring it up when
the
sharing.
airport overlay ordinance that wasn't timely.
right.
And I think it's a great thing that we're reviewing this and looking through it. That way, all year you can kind of think about these topics and have it ready to go when we get to the valuation time frame. So I think we can scroll down a little bit, Karen.
Well, is this going to be put up on a grid like we did for the administrator? Is this going to be put up on a grid where we go over and mark each one? Or is it just going to have an overall rating?
Overall.
No, it'll have a rating each one. The difference here is it's a lot less questions. It's 10 questions, 10 comments, 10 ratings, and it'll give you an overall rating.
Okay.
So, and each question gives you some things to think about. This is just formatted so it's easy to read, and that way it looks,
What I found helpful in these, even if each one of these, like under ethics and integrity, even if each of these 3 didn't have a place to grade them, in my mind, I go through it and I grade each of the ones and then have an average as the rating below it. So, I mean, you still can, and then in the comments, you can clarify. If one of them is bad, then,
Piece it out. Yeah.
you can kind of back it up that way.
You don't have to either. You can just make your basic comment and that's it, right?
and grade it. Yeah, you would grade that section.
Right, so if I got a 1 and a 5, I could do it a 3.
Yeah, you can say it meets expectations in that section.
Okay.
So under ethics, can you, on point number 3, investigates and/or reports any concerns of unethical, illegal, or unprofessional behavior? Of who? Who's he investigating? Staff, a complaint, one of us?
Yeah, I mean, my thought would be if anything came through the department, I'm assuming. Like
Okay.
that's the way you would look at it.
Yes, it would be department level. So if I'm asked by, these are usually staff and department level. It would not be my role to investigate your
Yeah.
commissioner level. That's not.
Yeah, that would be my thought.
But if
That's not my
staff came
position.
to you and asked the question,
To
you
assist in
work
an-
with staff?
Yes, to assist in
Okay.
an investigation. If they're usually it would be involved in assisting in gathering any information relating to hypothetically a sexual harassment complaint
Right.
or a discrimination complaint or something like that may end up in an EEOC matter of those. I would be looking into the information and looking into the information gathering in preparation for either potential action, potential defense, in the event of, to at least avoid full, what's usually termed as municipal liability. In those matters, that's where then our office would help in investigating such a question.
Moving right along.
It's just so vague. Provides quality, accurate, and timely reporting.
Back to the time again.
Yeah.
Yeah, on whatever.
what's important too is what we set out is going to be what Mr. Rodriguez reports to us on. So if he's
Right.
going to be graded by it, he's going to be reporting
Right.
to us on it.
Right,
Or at least I would.
yeah.
It's almost to bring in a legal term when it comes to timeliness into these, it's the Supreme Court's definition of pornography. It's, well, I'll know it when I see it. So if timely is, if it comes back to you and you don't think it's late, then it's timely. That's what it almost comes down to in some of
Very
these.
funny
If it doesn't
word.
ever come back after 3 or 4 months and we remind you, then it's not.
And it's not timely. That's
Exactly.
it.
It's
If one of you call me and say, hey, I thought I was supposed to get this today, it's not timely.
And
But if I tell you I'm going to get it to you and you get it in 2 days and you're telling me thank you, I'm going to assume it's timely. That's timely it's almost one of those legalese words.
It's a weird word.
It's kind of nice and cloudy and it kind of covers a wide range. Now, if you tell me you want something by end of business today, you're going to get it by end of business today. And if it's not by end of business today, then it's not timely.
yeah, and I think to your example of a 3-month time period, that's perfect to include in this question.
Yeah.
Or maybe not this one, but the other.
So then let's ask the big question, number 10. Do you have established goals and priorities for you and your staff? Does your department lay out? Are you that organized or strategic?
That's the difficult thing when it comes to our department. I think if we want to try to establish goals and priorities, we'll try to establish certain metrics for our office to try to, if we're going to try to cut costs and expenses for our office, can we do things in a more efficient manner? I can't state, hey, we're going to win over 50% of our legal cases because I can't do that. I can't even ethically predict that I'm going to win a case or tell you, hey, 90% I'm going to win this case for you. I cannot do that. But we can establish certain departmental goals of, that, we're going to either deliver to you things in timely fashions or provide you with certain reports, or we're going to update you or provide you these things. We can try to establish those. But it's not like we don't produce a product that is a consistent product that you can then measure us on a quantitative basis. And a lot of our department really is also very reactive because we have to react to those issues that are presented and then address them going forward that way. We can try to be as proactive as possible and jump ahead of these situations, and we can try to do that. But and we can attempt to do that, but our department is somewhat different from the other departments when it comes to measurables. There are certain things we can create that are measurables, but a lot of those are just where I think our department is going to be measured in how we produce to you those things that we are responsible for producing and those results that we're responsible for producing.
I can think of like when you first came on, one of your goals was to reorganize the office and put people in certain places. And then, right, one of the early statements was, I'm going to get rid of the backlog of litigation that or things, start moving some of the things that have been sticking around for a while. Those kinds of things, I think, is appropriate to state publicly. And, to us, these are the things I'm doing. I don't know what else similarly you've been working on.
Right. Yeah. Well, those were my priorities, was to really make our office more efficient and improve the interaction between our office and the specific departments. And we've been successful in settling some of the outstanding litigation that's been there, and we're still working on getting that through that backlog. So those are things. I think I try to be clear in giving you those things that are measurable. Can I go and state that everything that comes out of our office is a measurable? No, I can't, because there's things that I can try to foresee, but I don't know what's coming down the path that we are going to have to react to in the future. But when that time, when it comes up, then I do have a basis of which here's here's how we're going to tackle this issue, here's how we're going to break it down, and now you're going to have something that you can measure us against.
We're going to talk about goals in the next slide.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Yeah, it should, I think it'll be good to do this together. Well, I guess if you could pull it back up, Karen. Same document. Just want to make sure we're good. So, and then the final thing, if you scroll to the very bottom, you'll have your overall comments. And Mr. Rodriguez will be able to give his overall comments too. So I think it's more simplified, 10 questions, 10 responses, and then an overall, so.
I think it's important that we just do this annually, because when we sit through and we go through, we're gonna ultimately say, well, this really doesn't apply. As we sit there and think about it in the process of the overall evaluation, we just get together when we're done and progressively each year clean it up and make it better.
Well, to your point, I think if this is due 10/31, maybe in November every year, we sit at workshop as a group, goals for the county administrator, goals for the county attorney. We have this evaluation process, and that sets their goals for the next year. Everyone's on the same page as a board. And even if we did probably, I'm thinking of elections, if anyone switches out, maybe we do first week of December or something. Just to give them goals for the year. I agree. I think it's important to do it every year. It's important to look at. And it'll make the evaluations go a lot smoother. So, okay, if you can go back to well, any other questions on this? Any other concerns, comments?
My comment is thank you for bringing it into the reality realm that compared to last year's evaluation, which was long and arduous and mumble jumble in a lot ahead. This is so much clear and concise that I really do appreciate you taking the effort and your team taking the effort to make it comprehensive and reasonable to be able to do our job as checking out and making the comments that we have to make. Maybe we can have improvement all the way around because of this. So thank you for that.
100%. Yeah, we appreciate your feedback.
We need to have it user-friendly. Last year, I typed up a whole evaluation and sent it in, and it erased everything.
Me too.
Just erased everything.
Yeah.
So I did it all by hand, so it couldn't erase it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd much rather type it. So it has to be user-friendly, whatever form we have.
It's getting worse, not easier.
Okay. Any other feedback? Cool. We appreciate your feedback. Thank you, guys. Okay, if we move on to the next slide. Oh, sorry, I forgot to have the clicker. So this slide is really just to talk about goals. I think this year, exactly to what Mr. Rodriguez was saying, when we talk about goals for that department, they have to be measurable. We can't, like, I think he gave some great examples of unmeasurable goals. These were some of the thoughts I came up with. I mean, these are things that I figured we can talk through, with him as well. I think the top one is a pretty simple one, which is something I think he's already talked about, developing an onboarding program for the commissioners, developing, and organizing a legal risk training, things like that to think about what will benefit the county, what do you think will benefit his office, and what's reasonable thinking now that we're already, this is for October this year. Do you want to just pick a couple things to give him that's reasonable for him to get done in the time frame of his evaluation? So thoughts on these, and if you have any other ones, you're more than welcome to share them.
I wanted to mention one I've already talked to him about, which was reviewing our advisory boards. A lot of them have been going on for years and years and not had any guidance from our county attorney or administrator. One of them is our contractor review board. It's in dire need of a revamp. Some of those people have been on the boards for years, and they're complaining about their enforcement of, the available enforcements. They have the same contractors coming through who are ignoring, there's no ability to fine, they can't send it to the police, things like that. So they're asking for legal to review. So maybe if everyone would like to have our attorney's office look at all the boards that we have going and see how they can be improved, or if they need any legal guidance.
They annually, they were doing it. I don't think they're doing it anymore, but sunshine law.
Right.
Update.
That's the other thing,
that's
to
been
check
done.
each advisory board to see, should they
They
be
need to
done in
understand the sunshine
sunshine?
law because it applies to
Yeah.
them, these advisory boards.
We just got a lot of boards out there
That's
that
an annual thing.
they've lost their way, or they have issues that need the attention of the attorney, I think. So it would be nice to have them go through, make sure that they're should they be under sunshine? Because that happened with FC3. They were operating outside of sunshine. and it
3
had to
years
be-
without it.
So just review of our advisory boards.
And mission creep. I mean, sure they're still
Mission
on the
creep.
original, what they were organized for.
Organized to
Right.
do.
Right, so just a refresher for the boards, take a look at the board, say, should they operate in sunshine? And 3, answer any questions they have, like, what is our enforcement ability, like he said, what can and can't we do on this board? And so I had talked to him privately about it because I had a complaint about the contractors board, because they feel, these people keep coming in front of us, but we have no enforcement.
Right.
And it's been years since we heard from legal, so perhaps they can come and talk to us about what we can and can't do in our authority. So just in general, so that was my takeaway from this year, or from, perhaps that's something they can do, because we saw it with FC3. We're now under
Well,
sunshine.
FC3, also the IDA got off the ground, and Mr. Rodriguez did, I was there, and he did, it was going sideways. He did a beautiful job. He's got a great presentation on sunshine law. If
Jay?
you've seen it, it's got an orange background, so I can't get it out of my head. I don't know why if you did it on purpose. I guess that's the orange sunshine. I don't know. So I think we need to have maybe one meeting, not necessarily for us, but we could always be there for support of all those people getting here at one time. And that way the presentation could be going, question and answers, and then we could have all our boards that are the leaders of our boards. People don't understand their rights, even if it's a 501(c), do they understand what they can and cannot do? And it seems to be a common problem in the state. So I got to tell you, to have one good, solid one would be easier than all these little places, because there'll be empty gaps. Open everybody up to that. I think that would be worthy if Mr. Rodriguez would agree to do that, because his presentation is really special. And after sitting through 4 hours of ethics and training in sunshine law every year, same old, yours was very, very kind. So I really would love to see that performed for every board that works under our demise.
Yeah.
Under our
So
demise. You like that
Demise.
demise?
And
I
I
guess
don't
the
know
goal
where, I don't know where
specific-
this would
okay.
fall, but with employee termination, it came to my understanding that our own council does not review terminations. I have a little bit of a problem with that. I don't know that it's a policy or a practice. I don't know how we do that, but I believe that because he's protecting us, that he needs a set of eyeballs on any termination. I'm not saying progressive disciplinary action. You should have all that before you get to where you're going to go with that person. Don't know why there's hesitancy. I don't know if there is real hesitancy. It just has never, we've never done it that way before. But I would feel, no matter whose money we're spending, insurance money or taxpayer money, I would like to, him to see eyeballs on terminations.
Yeah, I think that's a separate conversation from a goal, but
Right.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Working in my previous role, I handled a lot of discharges without an attorney oversight. But I have no problem, there's no hesitancy on my part of,
I
having him review or just getting a second opinion. I
It's
don't
a
mind
prior
doing that
to
at all.
termination, right? So to
Yes.
ensure that
Oh, God,
everything is in
yes.
the,
Yeah, prior
in
to.
order,
Yeah.
that you have everything.
Yeah, I have
yeah,
no problem doing that.
It would be
know.
helpful. It might,
It validates
cut
a
down
lot
on
of
any,
open questions.
post-termination lawsuits. And this is post.
Yeah, I think those were previous to me.
you
but-
and all that, but
Yeah.
it probably would be good practice to put terminations before their office, before they're implemented to ensure that we have everything.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that. So,
Sorry, that was just.
no,
that's out
I
of
think it's
here.
good.
But yeah, it's going back to
but-
the examples of goals. That was one that that's an ad hoc. It's not every year, but it's just ensuring that, our advisory boards are working as they should be.
So is that something you guys want to assign for this year? And is it to meet with every advisory board to
I
ensure
would like to, because we're finding like the Park and Rec hasn't met in months, like guys aren't showing up to it, just, the contractor review board is not working efficiently. They have people that need to be sent to the police, but you know what I mean? They can't do it. So I would like that sooner than later. Thoughts on that?
I don't know if it's a legal function or admin. To me, it seems more admin, but I could be wrong.
Well, I'm thinking about who should be under sunshine. And I don't know.
Well,
if it's
sunshine
every-
is different, but I
Yeah,
mean, as far
I
as,
don't think it's every board, but it's specifically the contractor review board. They're looking for what are our enforcement options? Because they haven't been told in 10-plus years. There's been no review of that, so.
I think if I had to differentiate, just like kind of a simple education of what is the scope of a board? Why are you here? What are you to do? I mean, that could fall under legal because that's just an interpretation of their obligations under the code. In my past jurisdictions, usually when new members came and joined boards, and I'm not talking about the actual governing body, but your subcommittees and your other advisory boards, I always met one-on-one with each new member, and that's when I gave them a sunshine law refresher, as well as their roles and obligations. But and also just to understand what their role is, what the scope of their review is. I mean, in my last position, I was the Planning and Zoning Board counsel for the city of Palm Bay. Brand new board members, they were unaware. They thought they can go on the board and just rule as they wanted to. And then one of them told me, I didn't know I didn't have full board discretion, that I had to abide by certain guidelines that the law, advised. So it's one of those where you kind of like, you have certain board members, you kind of have to teach them, this is what quasi-judicial means. This is what your scope of review means. This is what you need to look at. This is what you need to base your evidence on. Just simple, kind of almost like jury instructions for each board member. That's something that we can implement. And then I can always again delegate that to the attorneys who are within their function of departments, and just kind of it's little simple refresher courses for board members.
if I'm not mistaken, I believe either in a book or a file, Lucy has each of those boards or commissions with the authorizing documents, be it ordinance or statute, whatever it is, handy, so that you just need to glance through what they were charged with when it was authorized. I think it's all organized.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. Then we could just tailor a simple refresher course here and there to remind folks, or just even an introductory course to new members as they come on board.
We're okay with that for the remainder of the year, for them to work on that?
That's a good goal.
Okay.
Okay, so is that for every board or for,
Work your
how
way
many
through
boards
it.
are
I mean, that would be
No, you
I want to
gotta
make sure it's reasonable.
start the process.
I
Don't get
think
them
it
all
could-
done, but
I think it could be just
Timely.
work your way through each board, should this be operating in sunshine? Look at the meeting minutes, because I've heard those are missing. And that might be something to do in conjunction with admin, obviously, he can delegate what should be admin and not legal's role. But yes, sir, I would work towards every board.
One of the things I found, I've been on several of the boards here and in the city, minutes. most boards don't know how to write minutes. And that's one big issue. They go too much into the woods sometimes, too much depth, too many names. You know, we used to go to motions moved, not who did it, not who seconded, no, motion moved and seconded, and that was, things like that tie people up because they get caught up in the names and the who's doing what. And I think if we had a basic of minutes, how minutes are written, it's really
Well,
important.
that is all defined by statute. That's all defined by statute.
But they don't follow it.
And they don't. And even in our own minutes, we have a lot of detail.
That's
And there's a
correct.
motion, there's a second, and there's a vote.
That's it.
It's very minimal. And in Flagler Beach, we did change our whole process once that law changed or that statute changed. So that is something that could be looked at
Yeah.
because it's probably time more efficient
That's correct.
to cut out some of the white space or some of the discussion.
Extra, unnecessary.
And then, Mr. Rodriguez, it says here, or one of the examples for a potential goal would be to attend a specific training or conference. Do you have anything in mind, or you want to strike that?
If you're asking for one specifically, I mean, at the end of this month, I will be going to the Florida Bar's local government law section that's the city, county, and local government law section. So there are multiple city and county attorneys. We all attend that one.
We'll take credit
I know-
for it then.
I know that I had left when I left Volusia. I had left the Association of County Attorneys. So I just now re-signed and rejoined. I think I'll probably be attending with the rest of our folks their annual meeting this year. Because since when I left Volusia, I was with the city attorneys in the city attorney group, so it wasn't right for me to be with the county attorney group. But I will be, as I said, at the April 22nd through 25th down in Fort Lauderdale is the annual, and I attend that conference every year. Actually, this year, there will be a panel. They usually split it every other year. It's a 2-day, it's a 3-day, but the first day alternates between labor issues and then land use issues. So this year, it's a land use year. And one of the panels will be basically trying to circumvent government, working county government under the specter of, Senate Bill 180 and how you can proceed forward. So one of the panels, my former colleague from just south of here in Volusia is on the panel. So I'll look forward to touching base with him again so it's kind of, there will be land use specific topics this year at the Florida Bar Conference.
So do you want to just go with those two goals for this year? I think that's reasonable based on the time frame.
I'm 1,000% on board for the first one, because we need that done by
Yes.
November.
I guess, yeah, that,
Yes,
Yeah, that's a requirement.
okay, so those three.
yeah. So
the
establish
onboarding.
onboarding program for commissioners. Obviously, responding to all board inquiries within 48 hours is helpful. And then the boards and attending specific training.
Specific trainings,
conference.
yep.
The legal risk training, I don't know what that entails per se,
That
but
might not be,
that's a long-term goal or next year goal or perhaps, or,
yeah, I think it's up to you guys when
Yeah.
we meet back in, might be next November or December, then
And I think
we'll,
we decided one of the goals is to start a process of educating our advisory boards.
exactly, and then he can update you when we get closer to the valuation and where he was at with
We'll
that,
get
and
there.
if he started or not, and then
Okay.
the other things are pretty easy.
We'll get there.
Or pretty, I mean to say easy, but they're pretty straightforward.
Excellent.
thank you.
So, okay. This just goes back, I think we've covered the evaluation metrics. The other part of this is we need to think about, like, how do we want those questions to be weighted? I'd probably pick 3 questions, maybe weighted 60%, 60/40, maybe split the questions that way. Are there like 3 big topics that matter more to you than anything else? Which I'm sure there is on that evaluation. So if we go back, if you can click this link again, we can look through.
And it's a draft.
Yeah.
Looks like mine.
We have 10 questions? Or
Yes,
10
questions.
areas?
10 questions, yes.
We're going to weight them.
You should weight these. We should weight these.
Yeah, so what do you think? Pick 4 that are at the top, the most important to us, or no?
Yeah, open it up.
Legal counsel and competency should weigh at least 25%. Execution of goals and priorities should be higher than reporting.
Can you roll through them a little bit here?
We're gonna go moving down a little.
Interpersonal relations with the board, interpersonal relations with the staff, and then with the public. I would think that those 3, do you think that those are at bottom of the weight, or
Yeah,
I
bottom,
don't think they're,
less important.
Mr. Jan's thoughts?
I like
Number
legal
4.
counsel and
2030.
I mean, they have,
competency
I
is
mean,
very
that's,
important.
the thought was they didn't have to be as heavily weighted as others. but,
Right.
To not
Number
have
4 is
them on
very
there.
important.
We should have them on there, but the first 3 should be not as weighted as the others. Then we go into legal counsel and competency. Obviously, that's one of the most
Very important.
important
Very
questions.
important, very important.
Number 5 is very important,
Yes.
and number 6 is very important.
And then, well, we'd like you to be ethical, but I guess we're,
So with the state of Florida, actually.
so 7 and 8 are, and I don't even know what reporting technically.
That's reporting back.
Timely.
If you go back,
Yeah.
yeah, that was the timely
Yeah.
one.
Really, just don't forget it's timely.
1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, obviously are kind of the lower ranking.
Yeah.
So give them 10%.
Right.
What ones? 1, 2, 3?
Well, yeah, if you roll up to the top, 1, 2, 3 happen to be your, obviously, your relationships with the board, the staff, and the public. Important, but not as important as you getting it right legally and
4 was number
Ethically.
on the top.
ethically. So 4,
I-
5, and 6. 4 legal counsel.
25 and 30 is...
There's 10 questions, so it goes
75, 85, 90, 93. It's too many
Yeah.
to give that.
That's 120%?
Legal counsel, yeah, well, I'm trying to put legal in at 25%, that's not gonna work. So let's do 15 and 15. Still not enough weight.
Now we're going 20s, 5 of
Well,
them?
they'll do the weighting for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
That's what I
Throw
think.
out some weighting for us, and we can adjust it. 10's a lot, 10's a lot.
Yeah.
So 4,
Unless you just put interpersonal relations as one and put board, staff, and public.
Good.
Just swallow it.
Just
well,
wait.
that's
a minute.
true.
Make them out to
Why
100.
aren't 1, 2, and 3 just one question in general?
I think probably because
It's
there's
just
a,
the format that they're
Yeah.
gonna put.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably could, and then it could be weighted more.
And communication and reporting can probably be put together.
yeah, it's up to you. I mean, it's up to you guys. I think it's, I think they're fine apart or together could also be fine too.
I think, so what we're saying is 1, 2, 3, obviously not as important as 4, 5, 6. And then obviously 7, you know,
Setting
staff man-
goals. I mean,
yeah.
the goals should be executed.
If you go down some, we're all over this place.
All right.
You got it?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
He's like, no.
No,
But
she's
4,
right. I
5,
got a
6
note here.
obviously would come to the top of the weighting.
Yeah, do you want to combine interpersonal relationships with board, staff as one question and public as one?
I think we have to have at least the space to put something in writing.
Can you go down a little so I can see the 8, 9, 10? I'll tell you.
There's not much space for comments.
Maybe you can't,
Oh, you'll
so-
have plenty of space.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're going to give me lots of room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you could. You're going to come up with a weighting system, and you're going to realize there's might be duplication of questioning that can be rolled up. So maybe just look at that again and let you guys decide what can be rolled up or what should be rolled up.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, I think that part of it's important for, if you guys decide, if there is an importance on separating those three topics,
Yeah.
I think we need to know, like, do you really care to separate his interaction with you guys, his interaction with the staff, his interaction with public? If not, if it's just his general interactions with everyone, I guess I'll find a different
Yeah.
term. But
I
if
expect him to treat everybody
the same,
above
that would
then
board.
we can combine that as one question. Sure, yeah, that's
Be
fine.
different, 3 bullets
Yeah,
under that one.
right.
Yeah, we can, exactly, I can
Yeah.
break it apart and just
Mm-hmm.
put it as one question, that's fine. The same thing with communication and reporting.
Okay.
I can put those together if you feel like that's redundant, that works for me.
Great.
And then, just to reiterate, your top ones were, I think, 5. Karen, if you could scroll up.
We
Or
had
5
this
and
problem with
6.
the administrators one. There was a duplication of questions, you know what I mean? And then you're like 3s over here and 5s over there, and it really
Yeah.
wasn't fair to her either. I would say it wasn't fair.
It's tough.
It would just be easier, I think, in terms of when we're scoring.
And we're going to eyeball this again.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's not going to be perfect the first time around, right? So as we think on it, and
Got some
now that
time.
we've had each other's opinion, it's easy to sit at home and read this by yourself. But when you're up here trying to think it through,
Hear different thoughts.
yeah.
Okay. Just tweak it.
And
Okay.
again,
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Rodriguez should have input into this. Right?
Right. That's a yes.
If you can go back to
He
the
does this.
PowerPoint.
He does a lot of nodding.
Okay, the other question I had was, would you like him to complete a self-evaluation? Is that something you guys are interested in?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. And
Before our evaluation.
Before your
comes through.
evaluation, that's the timeline of it. If your evaluation period's gonna open up 9:15 to 10:31 for you to write complete issue, do you want to open his,
15 days prior?
you can give him 15 days to write his, does that work with you? So 9/1, he'll open his self-evaluation. It'll be the same evaluation. He'll rate himself. And then he'll send that to you on his feedback.
Okay.
So that's good, okay. And I think we're good on the timeline. You feel good about that? About a month and a half?
Great.
So, okay, any other
How
questions?
much time are you giving us?
A month and a half. You'll have 9:15 to 10:31.
He'll
We
have
need
two-
that much time?
Well, he'll have 2 weeks.
We
To,
only need 2 weeks.
No, he's going to start on the 1st.
Right.
And with 15th, we're going to get to do ours and see his. And then
Okay.
we have another, 15 to 20 days. Time is of the essence, you know.
All right, so I guess the big question, well, one of my questions is this evaluation tied to a raise? Where is the raise come in? Is it in his contract that he gets a raise following the job performance evaluation? Or,
If I recall, and that's why I was just going to make a comment even on the timing on the dates, because believe I tied my contract evaluations and then raise. I had the standard cost of living adjustment, and then there was a mechanism there for merit. But then timeline wise, I tied it in with the end of the fiscal year, so that if
Okay.
there was going to be any adjustments, then the new adjustment would kick in at the beginning of the new
October.
fiscal year. Right. So if we're going to have the evaluation go to 10/31, you might want to push them
Yeah.
back
Yeah, we can easily do
so
that.
that everything is complete, so that if there is, the cost of living adjustment will kick in, but if there will be a merit, because I know we did agree on a merit, then that'll become effective under the new, with the new fiscal year. So I wanted to have it timed that way. And I know that's how I drafted the contract.
Okay.
And that's how what was agreed upon.
okay.
So,
So
yeah,
you'll
we'll
need to,
just scoot
you'll
it
need to
back.
move your line.
Yeah, that's easy. Yep, we'll scoot it back.
Sounds good.
Okay, that's good.
And I
All right.
believe in your contract, you were due a 6-month evaluation?
I don't think that was in there.
No?
I don't recall. I'll take a
Okay.
look at it, but
I
Nix
thought I
it.
did look at that. I don't
Nix
think
it.
that was in there, but we can double
All right.
check. I wasn't,
Thank you.
yeah, I
Thank you
remember
for
looking at
checking.
it.
But
Thank
it
you.
wasn't necessarily,
New
chosen.
employees are 180 days, right?
Yeah, we're doing a 6-month for new employees, yes. Okay, so we're done with the county attorney, moving on to county administrator. So this first part, the job description, I think we talked a little bit about it through that questionnaire that I gave you guys earlier. We talked about some skills, job knowledge, competencies, education. Karen, if you can open up the current job description. The current job description is very vague. It's really state statutes focused. You can look at the essential functions and see that it's just referring to the state statute that defines the county administrator's job. Even education training is pretty vague, and then we don't even have a knowledge, skills, and abilities on there. My thought on that is I can take the feedback from today and update this with all your feedback and like make it more robust than it is now, and have FACM look it over too before we post the job. That way they can say, okay, is it reasonable or not? What I put in there. So that's my thought on it. You know, this isn't a representation of our actual job descriptions here, I promise. But I think that's just what it was drafted at a while ago. So
It's pretty stripped down.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's good.
Yeah. Okay. And you can get that done in the next month before we start, or next couple weeks before we start
Yeah, based on
interviewing
the feedback
people?
today, yeah, of
Okay.
course. I can get it done this week. Okay. Well, then if you can go back to the presentation, the link in here is just the state statutes. If you guys want to look them over, we can. But that's basically outlines the powers and duties of the county administrator per state statute. And then I just talked about it. If you want to go back to this and look through some of the old job descriptions, I've linked them all to one PDF. If you want to see what other counties look like, I think it's, to just be fair, I don't think ours is the worst. There's other ones that are pretty bad too, just being honest. But we'll clean it up and get it organized. Going back to the current, we talked a lot about the feedback before. We had 4 categories with multiple questions per category. Same concept as the county attorneys here. I cleaned it up and made it into the same format. However, when we started doing that, I looked through 9 other counties. Same thing, 5-point scale, and then these were the common from those 9 other counties. So same review, all those examples are there. Same thing, I would recommend you look through some of those just to see what they look like. And then I drafted a new draft for the county administrator. So this is important for us to go through now. We can look through the questions, same thing, feedback, give me your thoughts on all of that. And some of those things right off the bat, those 3, we can condense them down again. So Karen, can you click that link? So yeah, I mean, obviously this is that your 2 contracted positions, they should be a little similar in some regard. So I think we can probably scroll past these 3, right? You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
It's the same as the, okay.
timely word.
Well, yeah, start with 4.
Pam, do you want an SLA, 48 working hours? You don't like the word timely?
Yeah, timely, man. Always had a word with timely.
Number 4, under decision-making skills, assumes responsibility for matters to be placed on a meeting agenda. I think right now that position is the only one that can put matters on the agenda.
Yeah, and maybe I can revise. I guess that is kind of,
You
Vague
can, you
overall. I
could
can
widen
revise
it
it
to
to-
say workshops and agenda.
yeah,
but,
workshops, agendas, but also
um,
ensuring, I guess timely, or I can elaborate on handling the agenda in a
Right.
timely fashion or something along those lines, ensuring that it's, properly posted for the public, and I can add a little more there.
a really good place to set the expectation for
The new?
agenda posting times.
I think in the current evaluation, it said there was something about everything being on time, because there's rules that you have to follow for when it gets posted and all that. I think if you look back, it's got a very good question about,
Okay, I'll definitely look back.
I mean, we exceed statute. It's just.
Oh,
we've-
definitely.
We've set our own standard.
Yeah, because when, it really needs, sometimes you need 10 days, or 7 days, or, so you can set up staff appointments with staff, I mean.
Right.
You can't just, it's hard, even hard to get it on that Friday before, even though that gives you a full
Weekend.
week, it's really hard to get on that Friday, get it open by Sunday, and then you're rushing to get staff appointments and everything else. But hopefully with a new county administrator, you will have one-on-ones that you get to what's coming weeks and weeks in advance, like what they're working on.
I think we worked toward that over time to get
Yeah,
that long range.
what's to be expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vision.
Where would that belong in
could you
here?
go back up to budgeting real quick? Thank you.
Big, but,
Big, real big.
Yeah, but I think you're going to
Yeah.
give them standards, and then when you evaluate them, you'll go back to your standard and put that in there and say you did not meet this or you did, as we go through the budget process with them.
Okay,
That's my thought on it.
okay.
You probably scroll down a little bit more, Karen. So,
I have a comment on the ethics and integrity. There's no question about ethical standards or behaviors. But I don't know where the line is in behaviors. Sometimes things feel like nobody's listening, and sometimes things feel like everyone's listening, and it's very, very, I don't know, very diverse. Today is a good day, tomorrow's not a good day, and things like that. Ethics are ethics all the time, so you have to work on your ethical behavior all the time. I don't know, a high standard, definitely. So if somebody doesn't, and I'm just looking, if somebody doesn't have a high ethics standard, and we put them in a 1, does that give them the opportunity to continue with the job? I mean, that, I'm looking at it saying, this is a questionable comment. Not really questionable when you see it, right? So I'm glad it's there, but it's
maybe that,
a trigger.
yeah, I get what you're saying. That definitely makes sense. And I think the integrity part of it probably matters too. Do you feel like the administrator has strong integrity in the information you're providing, and you have a good trust with them? That's what I would
Right.
probably look at that as well.
The ethics standards, and yeah. Thank you.
Chair, if I could offer up like an executive bearing, I'm thinking of what Commissioner Hanson's service in the Navy, that you'd have a distinction made between officers and enlisted, and officers had kind of a, I'm going to refer to it as the wrong thing, but a code that, that you had to abide by at all times because you were representing the uniformed service. So that, I don't know any other way to refer to it other than executive bearing. There probably is something better, but
Well, exactly, and you expect that from a leader, but you don't always get it, and that's, I wish that our applicants would see that prior to, and I don't remember if it was on that, it's been about 2 hours ago, so I don't know if that was on there, but to discuss the highest values of ethics and standards.
Well, quite honestly, that can only be a 5 or a 1.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all it
It's
can
one or
be.
the other.
It's one or
You
the
are
other.
you're not, right.
There's no 2, 3,
When do you
for-
have a 3 standard?
It's either there or it's not.
The another tricky word.
I think it's a great point. I mean, do you want to remove it?
I just don't know when we would know about the third item.
Yeah, I think the third item would be same kind of concept, I think, as the administrator. If someone's bringing concerns to you, you have to make sure they're addressed, whether that's through legal or through me
Right.
or,
I mean, we wouldn't know in most instances.
yeah, unless you wouldn't know until you knew, I guess is one of the
Right.
things. But again, it goes back to, is that going to be a 1 or a 5? You know, if you found out about something that was not addressed that should have been investigated, that's a pretty major thing. So, yeah, maybe some consideration of removing it. I think the more we talk through it, I think when I looked at the other counties, it was in every one, and I'm like, yeah, of course you want high standards of ethics and integrity, but I also understand that if you don't have that in your administrator, you're not going to want them here.
Reinforcing an expectation.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like if there's gray area, but really
It is 1.
it's
It
1 or
is the
5.
first part, and the last part is the same. Pretty much. Not having ethics. And we go right into unethical. It almost seems like it's, well, they
Maybe.
understand the language is long on that for the ethical part of it.
Maybe it's more focused on a professional standard. Like I think it says in their
Right.
professional norms, like what, does your leader operate professionally and hold a high level of, maybe professionalism is a better standard. Are they professional in general with the public?
go.
And do they present that way to
That would work.
That's better.
That would work.
thing
Professional.
like that?
Yeah, that would work.
What do you guys think?
Thank you.
Yeah, we'd probably do it I mean, with the attorney, I think you would want
Same thing.
the same thing. I think the difference with him is, but again, he would, like we talked about, where you would mention your duty is to investigate those reports or concerns that come forward, and be in compliance with the laws. But yeah, maybe we change the performance measure there. I could see a reason why you would. You guys good with that? Strike it, and
Yeah.
I can rewrite it. Let me think a little bit more
Yeah.
on it. I'll rewrite it
Okay.
to something else because
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I like it.
So we'll strike that one and rethink about it a little more. The other ones are the same. And then while we're here, I think the same question of weighting. Which ones are the priorities to you? We can work through the actual weighting of it, but what's the highest priority of these metrics? So Karen, if you can scroll back, I would say scroll up to 4.
Up.
Right, yeah, right there. So again, 4 probably is one of them.
We're back to 4, number 4 again.
Communication,
Yes.
reporting, I can combine those, just like we talked about with the attorney. That would also be
Same
one of
kind
them.
thing. Right.
And then if you can scroll down, Karen. And obviously, budget and financial management's very important, and leadership.
One thing you don't have numbered 1 through 10, I didn't see the words come up, that you do have on your presentation is project management. Don't know if this is a capital improvement I think it all falls under administration, so. We need better reporting. We need more, you use the word timely, but this needs to be done monthly. Every board meeting, we should be getting two-way communication. Whether they feel it's redundant, or one of us or 2 of us knows about it, but the other ones don't know about it. It's projects. This whole county is built on projects, right? Whether it's capital projects or moving easements through the system, whatever it is, we should be getting constant feedback.
So, and I think that's probably where we can condense reporting, communication, and
Yeah.
in there, when you have your new
Yep.
administrator, you'll set that standard with
Yep.
them. That's my
I think that would be
expectation.
very important.
And if that standard isn't being held, you'll rate them poorly there. So I think that could be in reporting. But you have to set that standard with them, as what you're sharing with me, and that would be your standard for
A
them.
weekly update, something to that effect.
Yeah, and I think it's important. Like I said, this is great that we're going through it, and I think once you have the new person, we'll set that standard of what your expectations are as a board with this new person. So,
And they may bring something else to the table that we haven't even thought of. That might be much more effective for all of us, so.
so I'd say the higher weighted ones are probably 7, 6, I think 5 and 4. Roll back up, Karen, sorry, I know this is.
4, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then really, communication and reporting will be 1. That sounds good.
Yep.
Great.
Perfect. Okay, if you can go back to the presentation. And this, I'm not sure if we should wait for the new person to start, get to know them, and then think about, as a board, what are the priorities, and we'll assign them goals. These were some of the ones I thought of, or my team and I thought of. So, but it obviously is going to vary depending on, what you guys prioritize. I think a great example is what came up with county attorneys with the board. So, should we postpone this? I guess is better. Yeah, we'll
Yeah, I
postpone.
think we should.
Same thing. I'm assuming you'll want the self-evaluation. We can. I think it's better to do the same time period that Mr. Rodriguez said. I'll keep it the same timeline. Are you guys okay with doing both in that timeline?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And I want to say that that's pretty much it. I'll bring back the weighting for both of them. I'll condense with some of the feedback today. And I'll try to get on the next workshop, or maybe and if not the next one, but hopefully the next one. So
Is that the next one?
I know. Any other questions or concerns? It was a
Nope, I
lot
don't
we
have
covered
any.
today.
Does anybody have anything else?
NeoGov is not my friend.
It's a start.
That was a good job.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
It's
Thank you
a
guys.
good
Great job,
start,
Charlie.
Appreciate
and
your
it's
feedback.
Great job.
necessary, and good job.
Really good.
Thank you. I appreciate your feedback. And
Lauren,
I'm
you
excited
too.
to
Only
go
took
through
2
this
hours.
process.
I don't think
2
we're done
hours.
yet.
Hey,
I think we have
That's
the
a
interim
record.
county administrator
You're a record.
contract.
No, we
No, we
did it
moved it.
already.
Oh,
We
we
did
did.
that.
Yeah,
That's right.
remember?
I know, now I
did
forgot.
both.
Adam,
I'm
she's
done.
already forgotten.
I know, I've
Adam,
already
she
forgotten.
doesn't know she signed your contract.
Already did that.
I don't know, I thought this was like a twist on it, like you're already demanding a car.
But thank you, guys. I appreciate your feedback.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to
Thank
the
you.
search.
Thank
Yeah,
everybody.
have Lauren
Thank
here
you.
with me.
Yeah.
Huge help.
Thank you both.
Yep.
That was great. Your whole staff, that's great.
Doing a great
you.
job. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, we're excited to help you guys.
Did you
So-
share this with them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Yeah, there's some good stuff on there.
Yep, yep, yep.
All right, item number 7, Phoenix Crossing Extension Request Presentation. Who's the lucky,
Sarah.
is it Devry?
Yeah, we got
Sarah.
Joe
Sarah.
Hegedus and Debbie Paradowski
Oh,
coming
whole
up.
group. Okay. Why I didn't see that. I have so many questions.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Joe Hegedus, Health and Human Services Director. With me, I've got Devry Paradowski, our Housing Services Manager, and Sarah Spector from Legal. They will help answer any questions that I can't. But briefly, we're here today to review an extension request from Abundant Life Ministries. They submitted an extension request on March 20th, seeking a little bit more time to execute the development agreement and the ARPA subrecipient agreement that we have with them. They noted several delays in their project development and completion, and hence have requested the extension. Staff determined there's a one-time opportunity for an extension utilizing the subsequent year's SHIP funds from 2024 and 25 in combination with program income and interest. And in doing so, we can offer the original $330,000 as well as extend the original ARPA grant agreement to the new completion deadline of June 30th, 2027.
So you're saying those funds do not sunset? They're still available?
So to be clear, so the SHIP funds are available. The ARPA funds, they have to be spent by this June 30th, if I'm speaking
I
correctly.
thought there was a sunset clause on.
There is, so
There
they
it
have
is.
to be spent, and those are mostly done. If I'm believing correctly, they have about 20,000 left to build down on the ARPA portion.
Okay.
The piece that we're seeking extension on the ARPA agreement is the occupancy date. So the ARPA agreement included a deadline to have units built and occupied by June 30th of this year, and both agreements had that occupancy requirement. So we would essentially be extending that occupancy requirement. They would continue to spend down the ARPA by the end of this deadline, the June 30, 26 deadline. That
There's
makes sense.
27 on here.
So I have a question. Ms. Schenk included in a letter that she said the finance closing will now be March 30th, 2026. Do we know if that's occurred?
Believes, yes, it didn't? Oh, no, it hasn't.
No,
Okay.
it has not.
Ms. Spector can speak to that?
Get the lawyer.
The lawyer.
At the lawyers.
Sarah Spector, Assistant County Attorney. They are planning on closing this month on all of their main financing. So they will not be able to use their SHIP funds. The ARPA funds have to be spent by December of this year. The SHIP funds were supposed to have been spent and the units occupied by June 30th of this year. They're asking for an extension with new funds given for the SHIP portion to where they will have until June 30th, 2027 to be occupied. And then a little extra wrinkle on this, because they know they cannot meet the SHIP funding guidelines, they would like to have that mortgage canceled and replaced by what you decide today. So before we come back to you with the new SHIP funding agreement, they would like to terminate this because it's a cloud on their title right now, and they would like to close on their main funding without this cloud on their title. So they would like to take care of that in the next 2 weeks before their main funding closing date. So what we would be doing in between now and when we come back to you on SHIP is terminating their current SHIP agreement, terminating or satisfying their current SHIP mortgage, because they've not taken any of those funds out. The only funds they've taken out are the ARPA funds. So we would be basically terminating agreement that they've never even taken any money out on and entering into a new agreement.
What happens with those SHIP funds that were set aside
Go bye-bye.
for that year?
Please, yeah.
Sorry.
Jeffries.
Hi, I'm Debbie Paradowski, Housing Services Program Manager. So we do have about 3 years to spend SHIP funds, and so we encumber them with an award. When we don't spend them, we're usually replacing that with other projects. So this year, we are working to make sure that we close out those projects with rehabs and purchase assistance.
So these funds were, if I recall, 2024, 23,
Yes.
24? So are you going to be able to expend them on other projects?
We have requested an extension from Florida Housing Finance Corporation, but it's expected that it'll only take a couple months beyond that, because we move and plan to have a number of projects to fill up those funds. But 23, 24 was the highest allocation we received in the
Yes.
history of Flagler County. So it is expected that we might be asking for an extension anyway, but we'll fill those in with our homeowner projects.
You said that ARPA funds had already been expended. Is that what you said, or on this project? Is that what we're saying?
Predominantly, yes. I think they still have a chunk of the 170,000 left to spend down by,
Do you know what they spent it on to date, or?
I don't recall off the top of my head all the activities. I know it's a lot of the pre-development.
Yeah,
and-
I'm only worried because when we met with Ms. Schenk, the financing was supposed to be going through back
Right.
then,
Yes.
you know, and so it's a lot of, and what happens, I guess, if the finance
Doesn't happen.
doesn't happen?
Yeah.
What happens to the ARPA fund, you know, money that's already been expended down? I have lots of questions, more so
Oh,
than
boy.
It's like, this is the project I wanted to see most occur, because it's a great project, but it seems to have so many,
Well, as any affordable
Lasagna
housing
here.
development, I think the financing, the puzzle that comes together there is the challenge that all projects face. And
Well, and it's the
Timing
first of its
therein.
kind.
It is one of the
It's
first
our
we
first
faced, yeah.
try at this, so we'd like to see it
So-
succeed.
yeah. I'm a little worried, though, like, if you give up the lien on the title and then you don't get a close, like, what guarantees the ARPA funds back if this project doesn't go through?
We do have a separate ARPA agreement with them. The agreements were approved separately. The ARPA agreement does require them to reimburse the funds if.
But is it
Why is
tied
it-
to the property, like lien-wise, or is it just an unsecured agreement?
The ARPA agreement, I believe, is unsecured. It does not have a mortgage or a promissory note associated with it. I can tell you that their funding is in place. The reason it's taken this long is, one, this was done a little out of order. Now that we have the main funding in place, this was supposed to take place after they had the funding in place. So one thing you may recall in the last couple of meetings, we've actually had to come back to you for a subordination agreement and other agreements to subordinate the SHIP funding to their main funding. So that's created another wrinkle because we had our documents recorded before theirs. So they have everything in place now. They also had to go back to Florida Housing Finance and ask to remove this financing, the county's financing, from the consideration for their overall financing because it was going to be after their closing. So they've had to iron out several wrinkles in addition to the government shutdown caused a significant delay in getting their financing in place.
I have an awkward question, awkward as usual. How did this happen? This was planned years ago. I've heard this going on for, I want to say about 4 or 5 years. Not just this, this project alone. So now they've got money tied up in the project. That is not their money because they're on a loan, right? So they want to be released to that loan in order for them to be able to close on the property. It's a little convoluted in my mind. I'm just not sure. And who's been directing? I don't want to say, I'm not pointing names, but how have they gotten their direction on getting through this and still not in the maze? Let me put it that way.
They have legal counsel that was
Okay.
not involved back when we were doing our financing.
Okay.
So had that legal counsel been involved, he would have been able to say, you need to put the brakes on the
Don't
county
do this.
financing.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we were hearing this needs to be done yesterday, so that's why we were pushing it through
So you got a rush from one person, the other one said, this is not the right
the
way
way
to
it
go.
was supposed to have done.
Okay.
So we've kind of been undoing, redoing, and getting everything
Okay.
in order, and they have that in place now. And they have legal counsel, that sophisticated legal counsel that's been helping them through this process.
Thank you.
That was not there at the beginning.
It's just an ongoing issue that, do you know how many people, maybe Debbie knows, maybe Joe knows, how many people will be served in this property? How many residents will
Total
be there?
units?
Yeah, units. And-
I think
and
it
a
was about
people
20, 25, 28.
28, there's 28.
28, yeah.
28
12
units.
two-bedroom and 16 three-bedroom. Then they're for aging out foster children. I think that, like, the project's a good project, but now, let's see, we're going to issue out new SHIP funds. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Dan, sorry.
So we have a new construction deadline? Is that what you're saying for next June? So have we looked at the construction schedule? Is there a GC that's been hired? Have they put together have you looked and verified that this is viable to be completed in the remaining timeline?
That's a good point. I don't believe we've seen all of that information from them, no. Thinking back on what they provided us, I don't believe so. We can request it, of course, and
It would be helpful from the general contractor if they have hired one. I don't know what the status is, but
Right.
not necessarily from the applicant, but from the hired builder or engineer.
I know in their extension request, they did kind of project out some timelines, but it wasn't as detailed and nuanced as what I
Yeah.
think you're looking for. So we certainly can request it.
Okay. And I mean, I'm even worried now with costs of fuel and everything else.
I
And
hate to say-
supplies,
I hate to
equipment.
state the obvious, but you've lost 150 roughly of ARPA money that's unsecured. And now we're going to dip in, if I'm understanding this right, into new ship money, technically, new year.
The following, fiscal year, or
Right.
ship year, yes.
And we're
allocation.
waiting to find out if the previous ship money can be extended so that we could at least use it on other projects.
Well,
Oh, that's the ARPA, it's been spent.
we would have to seek that extension for the 23-24 ship year if they weren't able to spend this on the Phoenix project. So we would have to do that regardless, and
Right. Well, but
and-
yeah.
But you
Before
said
we-
you had projects to do, to
yes, we
spend
do.
it
We
on.
keep a pipeline of projects and
okay.
applicants, and so that is really just a matter of pushing those projects out the door and getting them done by the deadline. So then, and we can't go into the following years until we, close out those prior years.
So I'm going to ask a question that's probably for legal. If we were to go through with this extension and all of that, I'm sure it would, but could it be contingent upon securitizing the ARPA money so that if this project falls out, at least we have a lien on the property? I mean, now it's getting a little, scary.
That's a good question, one I'd have to look into to be able
Yeah,
to.
because now it's just, now we're coming up, there's completion deadlines, project costs started in '23, as I recall. We're now saying, we got to go in and get new ship funds, and we've risked the other ones already for this project that may or may not get extended. And so we have an expenditure of the ARPA money, but no lien to it, no teeth on a nonprofit. So if it all goes sideways.
And I think Commissioner Dance's question is very valid,
Yes.
very valid. We need a timeline. We need to know that they can get this done.
They
If they
need us
don't,
to do
it's
this
moot. The
now
whole
today
thing's
in this
moot.
meeting, right? They need this in this meeting to be accomplished in order to go through with their, because she's up against
I can say the projected completion timeline they put in their extension request was September 15th, 27, if I'm top of my head.
We don't have a special meeting planned here. We can't go adjourn and re-adjourn, so.
Yeah, it's in there. There's a special
I
meeting.
think there was a,
There is, on a
looking
special
at it.
meeting. There's an agenda for it.
This is just for direction. We would
Right.
come back to you with the actual documents for approval. We just didn't know
It'll
what
go into the
direction you
next
want us
meeting?
to go in. Mhm.
okay, so I guess my question is, because this is now, to me, a risky project. I'd like to know how we plan on recouping ARPA funds should it not go through.
I mean, I don't think my support's changed.
No,
But
not at all.
But I am curious that we have gotten to a point where, where we have a viable, right? We have enough time to complete the project. If we're looking at deadlines for completion, are we talking COs, having COs in hand? So, when that comes back to us, I guess, for approval, it would have to be, we'd have to have staff analyze that construction schedule. I think, signed and sealed, somebody's got to back it.
Yeah,
Anybody- is
my
anybody-
take is how, if this, as much as I love the project, love the person behind the project, you tell me how we're gonna recoup ARPA funds securely if this doesn't go through. Is there an opportunity, an agreement that can be made post-close that she's to sign, to allow us to go in a subordinate lien position? I don't know. Do they allow subordinate liens behind the, not trying to throw
Has
creek in it,
anything-
I'm just trying to secure ARPA funds that are desperately needed for other stuff.
Understandable.
Has anything been done on that property as of yet? Nothing is built, nothing's cleared, nothing's been done. It's just a
Believe they got-
vacant piece of land?
I believe they got their permitting in place, and zoning. but that's essentially where we
basics,
are.
I think it's cleared and filled, if I'm not mistaken,
Is it
but I'm,
cleared?
I'm
Well,
not
the
gonna,
ARPA funds were spent somewhere, correct?
permitting.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
a lot of that, I know, is, I believe, on permitting and the
That's
pre-development
great.
stage,
That's
yeah.
wow. Okay, yep. So,
But we can surely bring, dig into these, the scope,
yeah, I think
securitizing
those things
ARPA.
will influence my final decision
Okay.
at the actual meeting. I guess is the direction,
On the agenda for 2 weeks.
yeah, put it on the agenda for 2 weeks. We hope to have that information that we've, anyone have anything else they'd like to add to that? No.
That work? Does that work? Okay, that's good.
Thank you for
Thank you,
your
sir,
work.
so much.
Thank you for your efforts.
Thank you.
Really, thank you.
Before we go out to public comment on this, want to open it up to number 8. Any other items for discussion by this board or by our county administrator? Is that what we call you now, Adam? Or county attorney? Anything from the board?
Nope.
Seeing none, okay, I'm going to open up item number 9, public comment. This is a 30-minute time period allocated for public comment. Each speaker is allowed up to 3 minutes to address commission. Speakers should approach, identify themselves and direct comments to chair.
Raymond Royer, Pelican Lane. All right, so we had a CFO report saying we were doing some wasteful spending, and hearing these salaries being enormous salaries to start. When I got on the fire department for Allentown, I was making $10 more an hour being a pipe fitter. But I looked at the longevity to retire early on the fire department, so I switched jobs, okay? So what I'm saying is that salary should be starting at maybe 170 to 200 with, like Andy said, with aggression of evaluations proving that the salaries justify the increases. There is a downturn on the economy. We're going to have a lot of people that are going to be qualified to be getting this job, and they're going to be hungry to get this job. So I don't know why again, the CFO said you're wasteful spending. You are. You are spending like, I want to say it, Democrats. You're all Republicans, So I don't understand where conservatives are coming from, but you're not being conservative at all. For the public, I have nothing against Michael, nothing against Sarah, but there is a time when the attorney's here and you have a problem with the attorneys. Like I had an issue with Sarah, and we talked about my situation of my application, and we got it on the subject of Robert's rules, okay? Robert's rules should be played here in a lot of your advisories and your boards, but for some reason you just like to play in, out, in, out. Well, Robert's rules, if you stay in it, you stay pure. You stay even with everybody. Everybody gets a fair due process. You've heard due process is very bad here in the county, and the problem is, if you're going to play in and out with just the one rule that's not even a law, it's Robert's rule. This gives you order, it gives you guidance. You can't even play by that rule. Also, just like your advisory boards, they need to start following local state statutes. But like your attorney said, there's subject lines where they feel they just drum up out of thin air rules. And that's where, unfortunately, people have to lawyer up, because we try to go through, like my process, I try to go through TSR, and TRC, and Adam's doing a great job in TLC, but the problem is he gives me direction, so I go in front of the board, but then the board changed my whole application upside down. So that's about it. But you got to get your house in order. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? All right, seeing that, I'll close and I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Move adjourn.
We're adjourned.